Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Bournemouth 2, Everton 1. Another horrible trip to the Vitality Stadium for Everton, who just seem to go there and get beat.
Yeah.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Standard.
It is a horrible place for us to go. We had the Martinez Cup game, didn't we? We won 2-0. We had a 3-3 draw, which was a good result down there.
Not when we were winning 3-2.
But we were winning 2-0 and 3-2 in there. But that's what I'm saying. That's the best result we've had down there, is taking a point. Yeah. And lately we just go down there and get beat, don't we? And it's really frustrating. And Saturday was another one of those. I mean, it was a game, looking at it, where I was thinking, these haven't got loads to play for. They're all right, not going to be in any trouble. And we've had a 3-week break. I'm sure the coaching staff will have come up with a different game plan, and to be nice and fresh, and we'll get at them, and we might get a result here, because, like I say, they're coming off the back of, the safe now, aren't they? They're fine, Bournemouth. And to be honest, Ped, we could have been 3-0 down in the first 5 or 6 minutes. Jordan Pickford's made 2 saves. The lads blaze one over the bar.
Yeah.
And you're like, boys, wake up.
Yeah, it was an awful start of the game, wasn't it? It was just so slow, so ponderous. We hadn't changed anything in the start, apart from putting Seamus in and obviously having no Michalenko, so Ben Godfrey going over. It was just the same old. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? That's really kills fans' enthusiasm, is, when the manager basically comes out and says, we've had 1 day to prepare. You haven't had 1 day to prepare. You've had a week in Portugal. And then, okay, players have gone away, and I appreciate that. But Bournemouth haven't played. They haven't changed anything. You knew how you were setting up. You knew what the basics were. You knew how you were going to approach the game. Yes, you've had to make a couple of changes. But to say you've only had 1 day is utter nonsense. And it's what winds fans up when people say things like that. You've had a week away and you've done nothing with it. And we were joking the other week when we were watching them doing videos of knocking 60, 70-yard passes forward. And that's basically how they spent the time, going, let's perfect what we already do, lads. And it's just, this, when people talk about this manager, whether they want him to, go or whatever, this is what we're talking about. There's absolutely there's nothing new. There's nothing. Yeah, he absolutely thinks that being repetitive of something makes you better at it, like the 10,000 hour thing, isn't it? And it's like, I'm not sure about that, Sean. I'm really not sure about that, because I feel like we need a new approach in some of our games, doing something different. And it, to me, just felt the same old. And to watch that start, it was just like, oh my God, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gambling on 10,000 hours before he perfects it, he's not going to be here for 10,000 hours. He's not, though, is he, with these results? He's just not. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin came back in for Beto as well. That was another change he'd made. But I did find that a strange comment after the game. He's had 1 day to prepare when we've had 3 weeks off. Because I know some of the players went away, like you said, but they were in Portugal altogether for the first week. The preparation for this Bournemouth game should have begun the minute the United game finished, which was our last game. That's when they should have been looking at something different, and we've gone with the same thing again, and again it hasn't worked out. But the start was terrible, but we got through it, and then, I mean, nothing really happened in the game. It looked like a championship level game, and I watched a lot of championship games on Friday, on Good Friday. And the level wasn't much different than this game. And I think Everton grew into the game as such in terms of keeping Bournemouth at arm's length. They sort of looked not fully at it as well. They were a bit, I don't want to be saying they're on the beach and all that, but there wasn't an intensity about them after about the first 15, 20 minutes or so. And Everton did have a little bit of control, but every time we do that thing. Every time we get towards the final third, no one's got a clue what they're doing. Like Ben Godfrey, I know he's not a left back or a left wing back, He went on a run. McNeil had the ball. And he just ran and stood almost holding McNeil's hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you want him to go? And then McNeil messes around and then eventually it's a 60-yard ball back into our half, which is, again, an attacking winger playing balls back. But it was like, well, you give him no option because you just went and stood in his space. There's never any clever movement.
No.
And that, I know, God, like I say, Godfrey's not naturally there, but you understand being a professional footballer running into space. If we get it into the midfield, everything's safe. There's only Onana who tries to play anything forward. James Garner, and I like James Garner, but he's just a busy midfielder. Nothing's forward. There's no creativity from him. Decore hasn't been the same since he come back from his injury. He's just getting less and less effective at the moment in games, and that's a worry. And then the occasions when Dom wins the first contact, no one gambles anyway. And it just frustrates me that I know people can defend the manager or attack the manager, but he does have to take some, and so does Ian Woan and Steve Stone. They have to take some responsibility for our build-up play, because the repetition should come in overloads. The repetition should come in moving people about. That's what you should be doing. Yeah. Whereas for us, it's almost like wall pass football. Yeah. You knock it in, you just give it back, or you knock it in, it goes back to the centre-backs, and then Tarkowski tries a switch, and we were just doing nothing.
I find it mad how quickly we run out of ideas.
Yeah, that's
like really, really quickly run out of ideas. Like, and it's just like, it's just so frustrating to see. Like, what are you like? We appreciate. I don't know if we do appreciate, but these players are seriously limited, and the way they're set up is seriously limited. Like James Garner is. I don't know whether it's because of the level or how he's played, but he's so ineffective because he's literally playing in this little small box. It's like there's nowhere for him to go. And
well, we've seen that. We haven't got it there, but we've seen a thing with the positions, but the passing position, it wasn't even the one you put up. I know you put something up about just look at the position of the players and you put them up, and it is quite narrow, but I think it might have been Paddy Boylan, might have been Patrick Ridge rather, who put it up, or somebody else, and Patrick has quote tweeted it. But there's an image of Everton's passing lanes, and it's literally like this. The pitch is massive, and all of our players are passing in the centre area in such a tight space. Now that's fine if you intentionally do that and you move around. There's almost like a bit of a box, and you switch it around. But we don't. We just knock it in there, and then it goes back to Tarkowski. And you're right. So therefore, it does render James Garner ineffective.
It does, because he's standing right next to Onana.
His passes here,
who's really good at it. And you know, there's one midfielder taken out of it, and then you've got Decore, who, let's get it right. The reason why we are where we are is because he can't replicate the form that he showed in the first half of the season. We all know he was the one tactic that the manager used and was the difference in most games, and he can't replicate it, and that's why we are where we are. It's not rocket science. It's a very formulated team with one X factor in it, and it was him running from deep, scoring goals, and it ain't working since he came back. So he's not in good form, and if you look at his average position, he's so deep now to where he probably was when we were in a good form. You've got two wide men at the moment who just can't do anything. They're just so impotent, it's unbelievable. Full-backs, you don't go past them. I mean, starting Ben Godfrey at left-back tells you everything you need to know about the manager. Seamus doesn't get forward, and it's just like...
What could he have done, though, if he didn't put Godfrey? And just for people who go, well, you had to play Godfrey.
I'd have played Ashley Young. I'd have played Ashley Young left back. I really would have.
Really?
And I really would have. When I seen Ben Godfrey, I was just like, why can't you just play Ashley Young there? I know people don't like Ashley Young, but genuinely I'd have played him there because he actually knows the job rather than Ben Godfrey.
I think the worry, though, in Dice's defence here, the worry will have been Semenyo, who is very quick. And I think Godfrey, and we saw Godfrey. No, I'm not. You're absolutely right. When we're in possession, you're absolutely spot on. Godfrey runs, and he hasn't. What I'd be saying to Ben Godfrey is, when McNeil's got it, mate, just run and stretch the fullback so that they think he might play you a ball, because it'll give Dwight McNeil a yard or two to look up and put it in. He doesn't. He runs and just sort of stays where you are, and then there's all that. And McNeil's going, oh, we'll have to go back in. McNeil wants to come infield anyway. One thing the manager could try is Dwight McNeil further inside, because he's just offering zero on this wing. He's offering absolutely not. You see, if they wouldn't have had such a threat on the right, I'd have played McNeil left back and Harrison in front of him, and then maybe Young on the right, and just to give a little, because McNeil will get on the outside. The problem is, Semenyo running at McNeil probably would have been a nightmare because of the pace side of it. But you're right, you know, Seamus did all right. I'm certainly not going to bag him out. He did okay, but the 2 goals have come, you know, from him not closing down, but again, who was in front of him, what was he doing? And then the second one he couldn't do much about, and that's just the way it is.
I just think when you watch us, we're dreadful. Like, that's very easy to say. But what I mean is, it's like,
we're in dreadful form, no matter what.
I just think we are dreadful. I think we're a dreadful team. I think we're just a dreadful team. But when you've got like a Ben Godfrey playing left back, he's not like a particularly good defender. He's just, you're right, he's pace and power, so he's gonna do the job. But like in the first half, when they were playing that long ball, he's just bringing the ball down with one touch, and then it's like, Ben Godfrey's nowhere near him. He's not even close to him. And I think that's what I'm talking about. It's like, he doesn't have the natural instincts. He just can, once the player's got the ball, he can get back and get. I understand that, but it's just like no balance to the side, even though it's not changed all season. Like, to me, James Garner wouldn't have started the game. Not a chance on earth would I have started James Garner. It would have been Adisa Garner-Gay, who is a better player than him.
He is,
yeah. But what he gives you is, he'll go hunting for the ball, and he actually allows space then for Onana to play in that. Whereas James Garner just gets, and it's not about James Garner, it's just that, to me, James Garner plays in the same position as Onana.
He does, yeah.
So therefore,
you didn't have Onana, then Garner would do that.
Yeah, Garner would do that job.
But you'd have another one next.
You'd have James Garner doing that. Adisa Garner-Gay can just open it up a little bit and become a player who goes out and tries to stop the opposition. And it's too much. Nothing's changing. There's been no reaction from the manager when we're now. If we get beat by Newcastle tomorrow, we'll have lost half of our games. That's absolutely dreadful. It's despicable even. And because what's scary about that is that a lot of those games have been in this run. Of course, I know we had some early on, but when we started this losing run, we went, the run before that wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. It was really good, to be honest. So we've just hit this buffer, and it's a combination of us running out of players. It's the core going out. It's people starting to realise how we play. It's the manager not having a plan B, and everything together is just culminated. And you need a reaction. You need to change things. You need to change the formation. You need to look at other players. And for me, that's fundamentally what we haven't done. We've just kept on going. This will be all right because we were all right. I heard the manager again in the press conference say, well, when we won those 4 games, form over 4 months ago. Though. But also, it was just a small. It's a blip. Winning 4 games is actually a blip. It's not relative to the whole season. That was the blip, winning 4 games. That was the freak moment of the season, winning 4 games. Like, you can't sit there and go, oh, remember that was great. We'll get back to that, when the actual constant is losing games. Losing half of your games is the consistency of the season. And that there needs to be some kind of reaction to that. And Saturday was the perfect chance, coming back off an international break, going up against, having time away, working on things, a win being more important to us than it was to them. And yeah, to me, I saw no reaction No reaction whatsoever. I seen a lot of frustrated players. I saw a very frustrated centre forward. I saw players who just looking around going, what's different, what's new? Looking for a spark. And the spark there isn't any players on the pitch to provide that spark. We know that. We don't have a talisman we can get behind.
Why do you think Saturday didn't he put James Garner on the right? If he's talking about protection and you wanting those legs in there sort of thing, and have, you know, Idrissa Gana Gueye in there and have those three, so they're busy, and then you've got the core, and then you can make a choice on the left. It can be Harrison or McNeil, but also whichever one doesn't play is an option off the bench for you. And yet, you know, Dom come in and the best moment we had in the first half was a ball forward. Dom wins the first contact. Tarkowski gambles, which is what I don't understand why Decore or Harrison don't. Every time Dom jumps, gets it, knocks it back. Dom has a shot, Neto pushes it wide, and it was a nice little cameo, and it showed how quick you could get a shot away in the box. And I've just said to you, I watched a lot of Championship footy on Friday. I'm seeing players who are limited, right? Playing attacking football. So they're limited, but they're just doing things like overloading people, getting bodies in the box, therefore having loads of chances. We have got, I think this team is much better than it's shown. I'm not saying it's a great team, because it isn't. You can tell that. But I believe if you took the reins off them a little bit, they would produce better stuff, right? And you see it, Ped, because we completed 2 out of 23 crosses on Saturday. 2. And one of them, the goalkeeper dropped onto Beto. Now, if Everton had 3 or 4 bodies steaming into the box, when Dwight McNeil's got for all the things he can't do, he's got a lovely left foot. So why wouldn't we be throwing bodies into the penalty area? We don't.
We are so risk averse. And this is one of the major issues with the team again, is that we're so risk averse that you don't create those moments. Like you're saying there, the Dom shot in the first half. There's 3 players, I think there's 3 or 4 maybe plays in the box, which is probably because it's just come back off a set piece. You know, we don't create opportunities. You know, there's one in the second half where McNeil hits the post. Don't know whether he was aiming for the post, but he hits the post and it bounces out, and it's like
could have gone anywhere.
Could have gone anywhere, but we've got plays in the box because I think it's just
a corner, corner, yeah.
But we don't ever create those moments in the game, and again, you've got to look at the manager for that. For all the things where people go, well, the manager's done really well, you've got to look at these moments and go, well, he's also created a side that just doesn't create anything like in terms of patterns of play. It doesn't have a style of playing. It relies on set pieces and then the second ball from second phase from set pieces. And it's just, you're right. You watch other teams and they just make things happen because they've got sheer numbers, because they've gambled. And this is where there's a major issue, obviously, when you end up with a situation when you've got a right wing that is 73 years old, you know, and you've got McNeil on one side and Jack Harrison on the other side, and you've only got one centre forward, and then you take a midfielder off and place him with another midfielder who's not going to break into the box, and you aren't changing things at the higher end of the pitch. It's just all too safe, and it doesn't get us anywhere. Like, the football is terrible, like really, really terrible, and we aren't winning games of football. Like, how can anybody honestly sit there and go, this is all right, or what the manager's doing is all right? The manager has got one way of playing and it's not working, therefore really should be replaced. I mean, that's the truth of it. He should be replaced. In an ideal world, he would be replaced, but he ain't going to be replaced. No. He's got one style of football and it ain't working. That's when you jack it in. That's when you say you've run out of ideas. That's when you have to look at a situation. You know, you look at when Lampard went, because look at Lampard's body language. He had nothing more to give. He had no idea. No. And that's the thing.
It's drowning money.
You come to a point, and you can see it on some players.
Benitez was the same.
Yeah, you see it on players. You see it on Koeman. You see it on people's faces. You see it in the body language. You see it in, they don't know what to do. They've run out of ideas. The best managers, who are the best managers who are out there, understand that when things aren't working, they can just change it by doing something else. And even if it's just short term, go back to the default setting, which is what we play all the time, by the way. So because you have a different way of playing, don't you? And you go back to what, lads, go back to the well. Go back to the well, let's get tight.
But even Lampard did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Lampard in the first season tried to play his brand of football. Didn't work, did it? We had a couple of moments, but in general, we started struggling. He went to 5 at the back and tried to grind. And he did. In all credit to him, he ground out a win against United, a win against Chelsea. We won at Leicester. We beat we got 4 or 5 wins near the end of the season from nowhere, really, by grinding it out. And I think what I'd like to see from the manager is, again, it's not all at his door. It just isn't. But what I'd like to see is him try. I think he'd get more respect if he was trying different things. If he was going, right, we're playing 3 at the back here. We're going to try and play this because this isn't working, what we're doing. It's not working. We have to do this. The frustration is everything's the same. The subs are the same. Now, you will hear people go, what else can he do? Well, you try everything. Because if I'm a manager of a team, I try something that doesn't work, I think, right, I need to try something else then because this isn't working. What I'm doing is not working, so therefore, can I create a different way? We could have played, we said it all in the weeks we've been off, go to 3 at the back, play 2 wing-backs, get Beto next to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, give Dom a helping hand. Now, if you want to play Decore because you think he might get me a goal, you can still play 2 midfield players in there, and it can be, if you really want it to be, James Garner and Amadou Onana with Decore and ask Decore to break. You would have, if it was Seamus, you'd have him higher up. If it was Dwight McNeil at left back or Harrison, you'd have him higher up. You'd have 2 strikers and say, lads, let's get balls into the ball. We've got 2 big men. We've got Decore. Get our wing back coming round the corner. If Everton, if he's terrified, if we commit 5 players forward and he thinks we can't defend with 5 players, we may as well all go home anyway. Because most teams, I watched a bit of, it was on in my house, Liverpool and Brighton, because Zach was watching it. Both of those teams, I know the good sides, but both of those teams at times left fucking 1v1 or 2v2, and everyone else was in the box, and it was like a corner was getting cleared, they were racing through.
Watching West Ham and Newcastle on Saturday before our match, and I was watching 2 teams.
So Calvin Phillips come on, it was
it was, but Newcastle at 3-1 down had no choice but to throw men forward, even though players are going off left, right and centre. I'm not sure we do that. I think at 3-1 we go, the game's over. Yeah. The game's over, lads. So they just like, no, we're playing at home, and we've got nothing to lose. And if you know what, if you just turn it round, right? If you look at the Bournemouth coach, and he's got Friday to deal with us, what do you think he's doing on Friday?
Set pieces.
Set pieces. That's all he has to worry about. He knows exactly how we play. He knows McNeil plays on the left. He knows Harrison plays on the right. And he knows that Decore plays behind one of the strikers. All he has to work on is set pieces. That's all he has to think about. On Friday for us, we're gonna have to think about dealing with Solanke, dealing with the pace of the wingers. We give the opposition nothing to worry about. And that's a major issue. Whereas, imagine we'd come out and played 3 on Saturday and gone, right, McNeil's playing left wing back and Keane's coming into this. Ben Godfrey, would start because why wouldn't he?
Pace,
and especially with Mikalenko being out. And that to me is like, and people go, I've seen people say, but Wolves, doesn't matter. Wolves was a game where everyone was shattered.
This because we tried 3 at Wolves?
Yeah. Go back to Burnley.
We were knackered.
Go back to the Burnley
Villa, away in the cup. Burnley
where we had to play it, and we were so comfortable, and it worked brilliantly.
It's our last bleeding win.
Patterson can play right wing back, and that's the game where, to me, I go, that's when everyone was confident, and we moved from one system to another, and it worked brilliantly.
But I don't see if we're doing that, then I think you take less pressure off the manager because you go, look, he is trying to do things. Don't forget, right? let's not give these players a freaking pass here because they pull an Everton shirt on every week, right? And they should have pride. Imagine playing in a team that went 12 games without a win.
Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed to walk around town and go out. At 12 games, 4 months without winning a game of football, that's embarrassing. Everton's squad, as we've just seen in the accounts, 374 million it's cost, apparently. And you're part of a team that's gone a third of the season without winning a game. That is horrific. So you have got to bleeding start taking responsibility. But also you are looking for guidance from a manager and a coaching staff. I want to see my manager doing everything in his power to get a different outcome. You might try 3 at the back for 3 games and go, fuck, this isn't working. But you know all the things that people say? Well, we're good defensively. We're averaging 2 goals a game since we come back after the Villa game, I think, conceding, and we don't score. Fulham's striker has scored more since the beginning of February than Everton have in 2024. We don't score goals. We're not creating chances. We got a goal at the weekend because a goalkeeper dropped the cross. And Beto, fair play to him. He jumped, he was on the spot and he put it in. Fair play, done well. But we should be having 8, 9, 10, 11 chances a game. Or certainly 15 shots a game and then convert them into 5 or 6 decent chances. That should just be the norm. Burnley had 18 attempts at goal with 10 men at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. 18 away from home. All right, Chelsea had 30, but there you go. Burnley give chances. They had 18 and still at the crossbar in the 95th, 6th minute with 10 men and missed an open goal. And yet we would have been clinging on in our box for dear life trying to get a 2-2. Now, that's the manager is the manager. Look, I'll have a go with that. He's managed 300 odd Premier League games. I'm sat here talking about it, so I'm going to bow to his. Right? But what I'm saying is, to me, looking at it, I've watched Everton for a number of years, more years than I'm going to admit to. I know that Everton's results are always better when we go and try and win games.
Ooh, hang on.
When people talk about Moyes and go, Moyes defensive, negative manager, that's not the Everton I saw under Moyes at home. Every home game, we went at everybody, no matter who we played. We had a right good. I don't care if Everton have, and this isn't Everton having 30% possession. I couldn't give a shit. If Everton have 25% possession and 20 attempts at goal and win the game, I'm going to pat Sean Dyche on the back of the head. Well, and hope he gets the joke, by the way. But what I saw Saturday, certain that first half got to half time, nothing had happened.
Hang on, right. So, you got 2 managers, right? You got 2 managers who, this is their first season, full season to like put their stamp on their club. So Bournemouth's manager, they came to us here in the season, and I thought these are going down. Yeah, these are dreadful. These are the worst team I've seen. It was, and yet you watch. It's a team that have played through how the manager wants them to play, and they've turned out to be half decent. They're safe already,
and
they've got 8 games left, and they could maybe win half of them, and they could finish. They could finish 50 points, no problem, because number one, they've got a striker who scores goals, but they've got a way of playing football that creates chances. Yes, they'll be loose at the back and the keeper's dreadful, but they've played into a system. They got rid of the coach where everyone thought it was a bad idea, and he's doing all right. But he's took them on. And they've bought some decent players, and they haven't paid loads for them either. And look at them, they're a sound little team. We, on the other hand, have just huffed and puffed through the season, and haven't moved on. We just have not moved on. We play a style of football that I don't know of any other team playing in the Premier League. No. I don't know if anybody else plays this style of football. Everybody else now is trying to attack for good or for bad. Luton do it, and they nearly get results. But every game they're in, every game they play, they're in. Luton basically. Burnley are literally just starting to turn the corner. They have played a style of football.
They're still gone. They are.
Let's just wait and see.
They're gone.
But they're starting to play a style of football that, who knows, they might go down, come back up and be brilliant.
Be all right, don't you?
Like Fulham have become. But their style of football is just starting to turn. They're starting to score goals. Sheffield United, dreadful, fair enough. But they're limited in their resources. But everybody else...
Got 3 goals on Saturday, though.
Yeah. Everybody else plays with a style of, we're going to have a go today. And that's what is worrying, is this football that we're trying to play, which is supposed to be, you know, a style that is going to limit the opposition and we're going to eke out results, is not working. And things happen over time, by the way. So you can start a season in a manner which you'll get results. And it was a bit different for us. We started poorly and hit some good form. But it's always how you finish a season that for me is always who you are, because people have figured you out, and this is supposed to be the best version of you.
Can you adjust? Yeah.
No, this is the best version of you, and we are dreadful. We are dreadful, and
who were we missing? We're only missing Michalenko.
Yeah,
and Danjuma. But Danjuma, we haven't had.
But we're dreadful though. Like, say what you want about the players. I don't think there's a lot more in this team than it shows. I really don't. I think, as I said, I think the 2 widemen are championship players, to be honest. I think Garner is miles away from being a player who can change games. I think Onana plays in a position where actually it's really hard for him to drive forward with.
But if he had the creative...
But
the manager might say
what I'm saying is he's the kind of player that you put in a good side and it elevates him. And it makes the team better. But in our team, it doesn't really make a difference because of the position he plays. And we are a much of a much. Just Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I've no idea. I've no idea if you transplanted him into a different side and he was getting more chances and he started, or whether he's just gone.
Might just need it.
Or whether he's just gone, or whether missing 2 years of football has done him. I don't know. But the simple fact is, the way we play is absolutely dreadful. And if you don't get results being dreadful, then what's the point?
No, what's
the point?
This is the thing, is that people will go, I don't care about style of play. Get it? I get it. It's not the be-all and end-all. And you're right, I've seen people say, not to us, just like having conversations, I'm not bothered if we played like Man City or Arsenal, but still we're getting no results, we'd all be fuming. And you're absolutely right, we would, because why would we be fuming? Because the manager or the team is not getting results. Why were a lot of us fuming at Roberto Martinez? Because his way of playing didn't get results after the first season. Yeah. We finished. Go and look at the squad. Don't look at the team. Forget about the squad. Go and look at the team. For the 2 years, Roberto Martinez finished 11th.
Yeah.
We had a 20-goal season striker up front who was incredible for us and played most weeks. Didn't miss games. We had wingers with pace. We had quality in midfield. We had 2 great left back and a right back. We had good centre back, and we were 11th because it was mismanagement, and everybody was fuming and said Martinez had to go. Not everybody, a lot of people. Martinez never went 12 games without winning. Never went 4 months without winning a game of football. Did he? And that's why this is where I am. If you're playing the way we're playing, and that's the style is, look, we're basic, we try and nick a goal off a set piece and we keep it tight. Right? Fine, but you have to get results with that. You have to win games of football with that. And we aren't doing that right now. We're not. If Everton were drawing a lot of games 0-0, I'd say, well, you know what, at least defensively we're strong, and if we nick a goal we can win. We're conceding 2 goals per game.
Yeah.
We're conceding 2 goals and have done for about the last 6 or 7 games.
Well, this is but that's what happens though, isn't it? Because you invite pressure. The way we play invites pressure. Of course it does. We're not a safe team. We're not a team that we invite it because we don't. The best form of defence is attack, and we can't sustain pressure. Our best football comes from when we get set pieces, and it's the second phase of it. We're dreadful. There's only you can't sugarcoat it. We are dreadful to watch, and we are just in general a dreadful side. And I'm not being personal about players here. I understand the limitations of the players we've got. A lot of them are halfway.
We're also making them play in a safe way.
No, I was going to say that, but we're halfway between half of them are halfway between Premier League and Championship, and that's because a lot of them did get relegated and then have come back with us. So they're like in limbo. They're not really Premier League players because they actually got relegated. You know, that's like Tarkowski's one of those players. McNeil's one of those players. Jack Harrison there. James Garner, all right, was already in it, but playing for Man United. They're halfway between Premier League and Championship. But you're absolutely right. If you put them in a style that basically limits the way they play and says to them every game, what you're going to do in this game is just be so rigid. Like Jack Harrison, who knows what kind of player he'd be if you literally just said to him, you don't have to worry about defending. Like you do your basic, but you don't have to double up on players.
You used to get 8 goals and like 6 assists for Leeds.
You just play. You play in and around the box, but he doesn't play in and around the box. Who knows if McNeil could be similar? Who knows if James Garner, a slightly higher up position, getting on the ball could be better? But we've restricted us. It's like playing with a handbrake on the way we play. And I'm not. And as you just said there, it's like if you got a team and you play all season in a style, a truly dreadful team will be relegated, like a Sheffield United. But if you keep playing in an attacking style, you will get to a point where things will click, and it might come too late for some teams, like Burnley. But I think Bournemouth have showed that. It's like, if you're a little bit freer and you go out to attack, you will concede goals. But what you'll learn is how to deal with that. It's been the opposite way for us. It's like the defence started all right, and that was the thing that was keeping us going. And now they're starting to make mistakes, and there's nothing at the other end of the pitch because I can only blame the manager for that. I really can. I've got no time for the way he plays football. I really haven't. I've just got no time for it. And if he can't see that, then it's pointless because it's only going to go one way. We've already seen with the finances, it's not like he's ever going to get amazing players either. But I think now, modern football, these young players or whoever, they're now getting used to being brought into football where there's a style and there's an attacking element to it. I think the way the era of that kind of football is over. It could come back, I don't know, but you've got managers who are trying to stay up by playing football, not by being defensive. And I think even Luton, we've said this a few times, they realised that. They were going toe-to-toe and getting beat by the odd goal, and then something clicked where he went, we'd be better off just trying to win games of football. And they have, and what it's done is people can go, yeah, but they're still, look where they are. And it's like, yeah, but they've still got a fighting chance of staying up. Massively got a fighting chance of staying up.
We lose points this week, which we might.
Yeah.
Then.
But that's the point, isn't it? It's like they've got a massive chance of staying up. And you look at their team and go, wow, if they stay up with the resources and the players they come up with, that is unbelievable. And if we go down and they stay up, forget about points. I'm not asked what points we lost. If we go down, it will all be down to this style of football for the second half of the season where the manager just hasn't got an idea how to say, right, lads, we're going to try something different. And that is terrifying.
We got in at 0-0, come out for the second half.
Is that just the first half?
We'll race through the second half. We come out for the second half and it was flat.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, said to me, Dad, this is here for the taking.
Yeah,
we mightn't get many games like this for the rest of the season where the game is there to be won. And we had a moment where it looked like a penalty. I thought it was soft. I'm wondering why Dominic Calvert-Lewin turned back inside on his right foot instead of letting it run across his body and hit it with his left foot, because would have been in with the keeper. So I don't understand why he turns back. But he does get a clip. I was unconvinced at the time. I would have thought it would have been a soft penalty, but I have seen Garnacho fall over against Tarkowski for similar. We've seen Martial, I think, at Goodison with Ashley Young for similar. You see it every week. Anthony Gordon's gone down for one at the weekend with a little tap and through his body like he'd been shot. And a lot of players do it and they get the penalty in. And Everton don't get the penalty.
I think it's stonewalled. The more I've seen it, the more I think it's a stonewall penalty. I think at the time I was a little bit like you. where I think he's come inside because he obviously wants to be on his right foot, and I think he's unbalanced the defender, and he's essentially in. He can even take another touch there if he doesn't get clipped and be closer to the goal because the defender's gone. And then the more I've watched it, I think it's just a stonewall penalty. And how we haven't got it is once again how. And there's two parts of it. I think number one, I think the referee. Again, this is one of the problems with VAR is referees are passing the buck. They are passing the buck, and then the VAR goes, well, it's not clear and obvious, so we can't give it, which is utterly nonsense. I also think our players need to be stronger in that moment. I think our players need... The commentator on the game even said, well, it's not a penalty because Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't reacted to it. And it's like, well, he has reacted to it because he's gone over, because he's been fouled. But I think there is an idea where you should be getting... whether people like it or not. And I know people go, well, just get the decision right. But I do believe that if you get round the goal, if you get round the referee and you start kicking off and you delay that moment and you almost make the VAR go at it and have a look at it. Oh, there might be something in this. I better have a look at that. But the problem is the game just continues so quick and the VAR probably go, yeah, nothing in that. And I remember the one against us a couple of years ago at Brentford, where Ivan Toney got it simply because he went down holding his head, and therefore the VAR had a couple of minutes just to look over it. And I think there is an element to that. You have to be clever in these moments, and I think we are so piss poor at it, and are so weak as a football club. It like runs all the way through like a bar of rock. Dom there should be fucking steaming over to the referee, getting in his face. He gets booked for it, so what? That's a chance to go 1-0 up in a game, and also a chance for you to score a goal, mate. Get angry. It's the big problem with this squad is, and a big problem with him personally is, he's not angry. He's not an angry centre forward, and it shows in games. For me, again, it's important that players react in the moment, and we don't. And it is a stonewall penalty, and for all the reasons you've just said. Garnacho gets one last week. He barely gets touched, and but it's a penalty. It's a penalty. Seen one at Newcastle an hour before. A player kicking the ball away, swings his leg back, and someone jumps into his leg.
Throws himself
and it's
down.
A penalty. Like, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is in control. He comes inside on his favoured foot, and he can take a touch, and he'll score. I'm sure of it. Yeah. And he gets clipped, and it's a penalty. It's just, in this day and age, it's a penalty. And
well, why if the VAR not?
Because the game's gone too quick for me. Because they look at it and go, like you just said, well, there's nothing in that. And the game's gone, and the game doesn't stop. If the game gets stopped, if our players, and I'm not making about our players, but you've got to get clever. You've got to be, it's all these reasons. You've got to be clever. I tell you what, if Ashley Young had been on the pitch in that moment, I'm telling you right now, whether you like him or not, Ashley Young would have been straight over, got in his face, but it's not the Everton way. It's not the Everton way.
Yeah, but why isn't it the Everton way? Because nothing else works.
Because we have this sense in our club that, and we have a nicety about us that is just, we are passive. We have been for years. Tarky's was probably one of the only ones, and he's up the pitch, and maybe Pickford would be. But you've got to have players who are prepared to run over and get in the rest's face. And we don't have them. Think of the people we have in the final third. Harrison, McNeil, Dom. None of them are would be prepared to go over. But there's a niceness about us which gets you nowhere in football. Ashley Young would have been in the face because he's got that. He's been at clubs where he understands how important that is.
No, but I think you're right. You're right. We just accept stuff.
Yeah,
we've done it for years. We should have 6 players around the referee, but we don't do it. We don't do that. We don't do that at Everton. But the flip side of that is you shouldn't need to do that.
No, you shouldn't. You're absolutely right.
You've got VAR.
You're absolutely right.
You've got a referee can miss something. Because it happens quickly, right? And that referee was weak. He was piss poor, the referee at the weekend. He was weak all day. Some of the tackles, he was weak. So he might miss it. But the VAR should look at that and go, like, you need to go and look at this and you make the decision. You haven't seen it, so go and have a look. Now, if he runs over and has a look and goes, no, not having that, there's not enough in that, then that's fine. You accept that. You go, okay, well, I mean, we still might moan about it, but you go, he's had a look at the ref and he's made the decision. But otherwise, what are we doing? Because he gets sent over other times. You know, Man City v Everton at Goodison, when Onana's blocking his face for a shot that's going the back row of the Park End stand, they get a penalty. The referee give a corner. And he has to go to the screen and look. So what, you know, Newcastle at the weekend, he got sent to the screen, didn't he? So what I don't understand is why he doesn't get sent to the screen. It's regardless, if he goes there and goes, lads, that's not a penalty in my opinion, then fine.
No, absolutely.
You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin got sent off for Crystal Palace for winning a ball. The referee's in front of it. The referee said play on. Everton got a corner. He got sent to the screen, ends up with a red card. So for me,
well, even Dave McGallagher's even said the VAR should have stepped in.
I don't get it, and it's a huge. Listen, we must have been a pen, then I've got it wrong. And out the skeletons saying it was a pen for Everton. So, you know, I just thought it's a bit so. But I'm fuming with him because I'd have let it run across my body and I'm in on goal, left foot. He might have put us 1-0 up. But others are getting.
But he'll say, though, coming onto his right foot.
He'll say I felt confident. There's no problem. If he's been clipped. And I seen it again and I was like, he has been caught. I'm not sure. But everybody else gets it. But I don't understand, for me, why he hasn't been sent to the screener. Go to the screen if the ref. Say to the referees, you know, when you go to the screen, you still make the decision. If you look again and go, no, it's fine.
This is the grey area with them, is that the grey area is because it happens quickly, the game goes on quickly, and the VAR have probably got all these boxes.
This is where I want challenges.
No, this is it. This is all these boxes to tick, is the idea of, well, is it clear and obvious? Well, it probably isn't because he's seen it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but it doesn't matter. It's come to the right decision. Everybody knows that's a penalty. And at first, you might look at it and go, no. But if you give yourself 30 seconds and watch it a couple of times, you know he's been touched.
But put it this way, the fourth time I saw it, I thought that's more of a penalty than the first time I saw it. But I'm still...
But the game goes on. This is the problem.
We had this the other week though against West Ham when we got the pen. Kurt Zouma put his hand out and blocked. It was a penalty. The ball was here, and the referee didn't give it. Still had to go to the screen for a ball when he puts his hand.
They're relying on VAR, and this.
Okay, so they're relying on VAR. I know we're saying the same thing, but they're relying on VAR. So why wasn't he on the screen Saturday then? That's what I don't get.
I think it's I think it's a terrible decision, which they've got massively wrong. And could have put us in the box seat. And I believe at that moment, if we'd gone 1-0 up, I think things are completely different.
They would have played out differently, but we don't get it. And then not long after it, we can see the goal. And the goal for me is dreadful. We give the ball away. We should commit a foul in their half, and we don't. And they break with it, and it gets switched wide. And as they break forward, we were talking about it before, Tarkowski's telling Seamus to go out and close. It was Lloyd Kelly, wasn't it, who'd just come on, close Lloyd Kelly down. And as the ball goes wide, Seamus doesn't get out quick enough, but a cross comes in. There was one man in the 6-yard box between Ben Godfrey, James Tarkowski and Jordan Pickford, nailed to his line. And it's a good header by Solanke, but he's on his own. Now, two things for me in this. A, I want my goalkeeper coming and knocking Solanke out there. Coming, not knocking him out. You know what I mean? Coming with my hands out or getting a punch instead of being rooted to his goal line like he is.
No, absolutely.
And secondly, if I'm Ben Godfrey and I see Tarkowski in front of Solanke, I've got to get tight to Solanke to make sure he's not got a clean contact.
Knock him.
They don't. He plants himself between the two, and Godfrey just jumps as if like, well, and Tarkowski has done it again. Let someone run off him. This happened against bleeding Brighton when we were 1-0 up. We allowed Dunk to get between two of our players and plant a header. It happened with Kurt Zouma the other week when we're beating West Ham. He got between players and has a free header. This is really, for me, it's an awful goal to concede. It's a good header, but it's an awful goal to concede.
Terrible, I said. It starts with Seamus and not closing down the cross. He just jogs out there, allows the cross to come in, and Solanke hasn't had to do anything other than jump.
It's 3v1 in the 6-yard box.
It's abysmal. It's embarrassing that what we pride ourselves on as a team, and to allow a goal. You're right, Pickford. It's in the 6-yard box, so Pickford should be coming out and making sure he gets a punch on it.
Just a punch, yeah.
But he's left it to his centre-backs, and how they haven't dealt with it. How Tarky hasn't just headed it away, I don't know. And how Ben Godfrey, see, this is the problem I think with Ben Godfrey is he doesn't know the basics. It's like if you're a centre-back there, you just lean on him. It's not a foul. You lean on him, you make sure
Make it difficult, yeah.
You make sure that he can't get a clean header on it. And he doesn't. And it's in the back of the net, and you've gone from being a moment where if you grab hold of this game, you're going to go and win it too. You've just given away another soft goal. So a team that all their issues are they can't score goals. Now they can't defend. And it's just...
You see, I think if the cross... I know this is going to sound stupid, the way you played out, but I think if that cross goes into their 6-yard box, Neto claims it or comes for it. Now, I know he did and we got a goal, so you can throw that right back at me. But I think for Pickford, I know he's not the biggest keeper, but just on them moments, I think he's got to take control. If I'm one striker against 3 defend, like 2 big centre-backs and a goalie, and the keeper comes charging, you're not favourite to win that. And yet, we're 1-0 down, and the manager responded by putting Andre Gomez and Ashley Young on, which...
Again, just at the back of the goal.
Yeah.
Without going over what we've already spoke about, it's just soft.
Yeah, it's a soft goal.
It just looks soft. It's like you've set up to be in this negative way, and you've just given away a soft goal. And all it says to the fans is, what is the point? What is the point of what we're doing? We've huffed and puffed. Okay, yes, we should have had a penalty. We've huffed and puffed, and we haven't created anything bar, one shot, and and it's just that's where fans just go. And I think Saturday, let's be honest, Saturday lost a lot of people. I seen a lot of people. I seen a lot of people who'd give a lot of backing to Rice, just go, nah. Because they're watching a game where they just go, what was the point? You've set us up at a team that, let's be honest, we should be trying to beat, throw everything at. And you've lost that game, or you've just conceded goals like that. And it's like, nah.
We had at the moment before that as well at 0-0, I think, where when McNeil at the post, that was 0-0 still, wasn't it, off the short corner. It was a good move, actually, and he was unlucky, because it hit the inside of the post, could have gone in. It hit their defender and somehow stayed out, and later on it hits our defender and ends up in there. You get that when you're struggling, those things go against you. If we'd have been on a winning run, that'd have probably hit the post and either gone in or hit their defender and gone in. But he responded with Ashley Young and Andre Gomez. Took the corner, I didn't really get it. But we did, we got level. Dwight McNeil put a high ball in. Neto jumps in with their defender and the goalkeeper. The goalie drops the ball because of their defender's contract, and Beto sweeps it in to level it up. And I'll be honest, 87 minutes when he knocked it in, I thought, we can go and win this because of momentum later on. We saw it with West Ham the other week. Momentum with the away team when they get a goal can carry it over. And I thought, I tell you what, if we can get another couple of balls into that box, get Beto and Dom in there. And we didn't. We sort of just went...
A point? We got a point.
Right, we'll settle.
That's what we went for.
And we give the ball away on the wing. A cross comes in. The goalkeeper, it should be stopped first and all. It isn't the cross. The goalkeeper should claim that it's in his 6-yard box. A bouncing ball. He leaves it. Tarkovsky leaves it. It hits Coleman and goes in, and we've lost the game. And that to me is it Seamus. I've seen people blaming Coleman. I don't really think he could do anything about it. For me, that one's on Jordan Pickford. Just come and take it.
No, I mean, the goal, like when we scored, I didn't even celebrate when we scored. It was just a case of...
I'll be honest, I expected them to disallow it. I was thinking it's better foul.
When it went in, I was just a bit like, is this really a goal? But again, I was still like, we've been awful today. All right, we're going to get a point out of it, But I think, again, it's the approach afterwards, isn't it? There isn't that thing of, like, we can go and win this. Come on, lads. It's got a point, lads. That's what we came for. And they're at home. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to just throw stuff into the box or whatever and think... And they took Solanke off, which you just think... Well,
the cross was crap, though. The goalie should have just
It was a weird cross, because it did... It
just dipped, but he should have claimed.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it was a weird cross, because the bounce seemed to just... It just seemed to freak Pickford out. But yeah, just get in front of it. Get in front of it and get hold of it. And he doesn't, he leaves it. And because he leaves it such a last minute, it sort of just bounces up and hits Seamus. And other than ducking, I don't know
fella behind that.
I don't know what he could have done otherwise. And it's It's just, it couldn't be more Everton if you tried, could it? It couldn't be.
It was like, it reminded me of when Walter eventually got sacked, but we got beat at home by Sheffield Wednesday, and they had a shot and the keeper parried it and it under and went in, and we got beat 2-1 on Easter Monday. It was, and it felt similar, and I remember that day thinking, we're going down.
Yeah, super careful
but
game.
I didn't think it on Saturday, but what I mean is, but I did think we are in huge trouble.
Oh, we are, because
we're in huge trouble.
We're in huge trouble because
we can't score goals.
We can't score goals. We can't defend. Obviously, we've got Newcastle tomorrow as we speak. We've got Burnley on Saturday. No confidence. No confidence in that at all.
No.
And we're dreadful. We're a dreadful team. Everything's burning. The fans are at each other's throats over obviously numerous things. We've got the finances, which are clearly terrible. We've got the PSR, obviously, thing coming soon, and I think a lot of people now are really fearing what we're going to get off the back of those numbers. Even and again, I mean, Everton don't help themselves because they put them out on Easter Sunday and they literally just go throw them out like
in the middle of a big game.
No, but they throw them out like, honestly, they throw them out like it's on fire, and then run back into the house and let us deal with the fire. There's no briefing. The club are pathetic. Again, there's no briefing of the media. There's no coming out and saying to anyone, this is what it is. But just so you know, it's not as bad as it looks, or there's mitigating circumstances. It's just, this is on fire. Yeah, you have it. And then we have to deal with it as a fan base. And it's a meltdown. And honestly, this club could not get any worse. It could not get any worse than it is now.
Don't say
no, what I mean is there's the club itself, leadership-wise,
well, we need that.
Is just, and they can all pat themselves as much as they want on the back. You're dreadful. Even putting that out yesterday at like 6 o'clock.
It had to go out yesterday.
No, putting it out at 6 o'clock without any brief. No, it could have gone out last week.
I know, but I meant he left it. No, but, he knew, didn't he? But
that's the point.
Listen, let's do that on a different video.
I want to do it now. I want to have a rant.
Put you on then and let me
what I'm saying is it's just that it all adds up. It all adds up. It is all adding up now. And we've come to a point where we're going into Saturday, which is one of the most important games of the season. And Everton have created a situation where the fans are just so fed up with everything. So that's on them. They've created this. And it's, if they don't get it, I don't know what the reaction will be at Newcastle. But let's be honest, we should be looking at Newcastle thinking, oh my God, they're missing that player, that player.
But we're not,
we're terrified, even though they're down to the bare bones and Gordon's not playing, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Let's have a look at the match stats from the game.
There you go.
There they are. Bournemouth 2, Everton 1. 11 shots to 7, 4 on target for Bournemouth, 3 for Everton, 1 big chance. We won the possession, and that is always a massive issue for Everton Football Club. An absolute nightmare. Right, we're going. We'll be doing the comments on Premier in a minute. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you want. We'll see you later.